What if I told you? David Wood's Islamic dilemma collapses before it even begins, not because of what Muslims believe, but because of what the Quran actually says. He built a theory on one word, gospel. But he never asked, what's in the book he's holding? Or more importantly, what does the Quran say about it? The Quran speaks, reveals the truth. That is D. Wood saying,
let's stop pretending. The Quran already told you why it was revealed, and it doesn't need your guesswork. Quran 18:1-4. All praise is due to Allah, who sent down the book upon his servant and made in it no crookedness. Straight, to warn of severe punishment from him, and to give good news to the believers who do righteous deed, and to warn those who said, Allah has taken a son. That's your problem, not with Muslims, with Allah, with the Quran. It came to warn you, not agree with you, not to confirm your fantasies, to expose them. And when you can't handle that warning, what do? You run. You ignore what's in front of you, and you chase nonsense. You say the Quran confirms the gospel. Which one? The one in your hand? The one you admit was never revealed to Jesus? The one your churches cooked up in stages with Paul and anonymous authors? You know it's not from Allah. You know Jesus never held it. But you want the Quran to confirm it anyway, just because it wears the label. That's not confusion. That's desperation.
My hypothesis, we'll call it the D. Wood hypothesis, is this. According to the Quran, Allah gave different revelations to different groups of people through different prophets, and those different groups are responsible for obeying the scriptures that were revealed to them.
Ooh, who said that? D. Wood? Wow. Does Quran really say that? I am sure the Quran did not say that. He starts his lying. I searched the Quran to find out. That's what I found the Quran says. Quran 21:25. And we did not send any messenger before you, except we revealed to him, there is no God but me, so worship me. It did not reveal to him to say, I am God or the Son of God, but say, there is no God but me. Quran 16:36. And we certainly sent into every nation a messenger saying, worship Allah and avoid association. It did not reveal to him to say, I am God or Son of God, but says, saying worship Allah and avoid association. Quran 42:13. He has ordained for you from the religion what he enjoined upon Noah, and what we revealed to you, and what we enjoined upon Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, to establish the religion and do not deviate in it. Hard on the polytheists is what you call them. To Allah chooses for himself whom he wills and guides to himself. Whoever turns, establish the religion and do not deviate from it. Establish the religion and do not deviate from it. Tell me, what is the religion? Quran 3:19. Indeed, the religion with Allah is submission. Islam. And those who were given the book did not deviate except after knowledge came to them unjustly to themselves. And whoever disbelieves in the signs of Allah, then indeed Allah is swift in reckoning. Ooh. This verse also says that those who were given the book did not deviate except after knowledge came to them unjustly to themselves. That is just by itself confirms deviation and corruption. Yes. Does that mean that all revelations are the same? That's what the Quran is saying. Really, the Quran did not say anything about different revelations. But Wood is a liar or blind. Did he stop lying at that point?
No, he continues his lies and says the Quran says this gospel still exists.
The Quran never says that. That a challenge. So, who should we believe? D. Wood, of course. That's right. We should trust D. Wood. Because he's telling Muslims to ignore the Quran and trust him, and telling missionaries the lie they want to hear. Then he said,
First, the Quran sounds like it's saying that Allah gave a book called the Gospel to Jesus, and that Jesus then gave this book to his followers. But the Quran says that Christians still have the Gospel.
Sounds interesting. He did not read, but he heard a sound, and we know whose sound it was. That is not a sound. That is what the Quran is saying. Quran 3:48. And teaches him the book and the wisdom and the Torah and the gospel. That is what the Quran is saying, and it is not a sound. Allah taught Jesus not only the Gospel but also the Torah.
The voice, or the sound, told him that Jesus gave the Gospel to his followers. That's not a sound. That's what should happen when a prophet receives a book. Yes, that's what should happen. And that's what your early church fathers said to expose you. 1 Clement 4:2. The apostles received the gospel for us from the Lord Jesus Christ. Jesus the Christ was sent forth from God. So then Christ is from God, and the apostles are from Christ. Both therefore came of the will of God in the appointed order.
I seek forgiveness from Allah for what he says. He is insulting Allah, the Almighty. Pause.
Christians have to judge by the gospel. Since Christians have never had a book that was given by Jesus, Allah apparently doesn't know what he's talking about.
Then he says, Christians never had a book given by Jesus. So Allah apparently doesn't know what he's talking about.
You just admitted you don't know of any book given to Jesus. But the Quran says it. Clement of Rome says it. Only you don't.
So it's not Allah who doesn't know what he's talking about. It's you running your mouth while empty-handed.
You say it clearly. The book in your hand is not from God. It's not from Jesus. It's what your church kitchen cooked in the 2nd to 4th century and served you as about Jesus.
That's not a guess. It's a proven concept. And we'll be breaking it down piece by piece in upcoming videos. So subscribe and stay tuned, because this kitchen's about to get exposed. He still have his mouse open.
Let's go through the Quran and read every single verse that mentions the gospel so we can see which hypothesis is correct. Now, there are only 12 verses that mention the gospel. If you're taking notes, the verses are Surah 3, verse 3, Surah 3, verse 48, Surah 3, verse 65, Surah 5, verse 46, Surah 5, verse 47, Surah 5, verse 66, Surah 5, verse 68, Surah 5, verse 110, Surah 7, verse 157, Surah 9, verse 111, Surah 48, verse 29, and Surah 57, verse 27.
12 verses mention the gospel. Impressive, but he forgot one small detail. Which gospel? The gospel Jesus received from God, or the book your church cooked in the 2nd to 4th century, filled with anonymous accounts, letters from human to human, topped with Greek philosophy, and served to you as the gospel according to... He didn't say, so let's help him out.
First up, Surah 3, verse 3. We'll read verses 2 through 4 for context. God, there is no God but He, the living, the self-subsisting. He sent down the book upon thee, upon Muhammad, in truth, confirming what was before it. So the Quran confirms what came before it. And he sent down the Torah and the Gospel aforetime as a guidance to mankind. And he sent down the criterion, truly those who disbelieve in the signs of God shall have a severe punishment, and God is mighty, possessor of vengeance. There are a few interesting pieces of evidence here. Surah 3, verse 3 obviously affirms the inspiration of the gospel. It says that Allah sent down the Torah and the gospel. The verse says that the Quran confirms what was before it and then clarifies that it's referring to earlier revelation.
He started with Quran 3:3-4 and included 3:2 for context. But before we go any further, we need to clarify a few points. The gospel that Allah revealed is A, a monotheistic book, as we've already seen. B, a book that includes legal rulings and in some cases overrides the law of the Torah. We must also remember, he himself admitted, Christians do not have a book from God to Jesus and from Jesus to his followers. So the book in his hands is not the Torah. And it is not the gospel the Quran is talking about. That's the standard we will follow, and we're going to hold him to it, verse by verse. We will stay with the exact English translation as we have it. Allah, there is no God but He, the ever-living, the sustainer of all existence. Quran 3:2. This is a clear testimony. There is no God but Allah, one with no sons, no partners, and no shared divinity. And the shock is that it did not shake him. He heard it and reacted as if it said nothing, or maybe he's just too used to ignoring testimony like that. Now we come to Quran 3, and it has two separate parts, clearly marked by a comma. He sent down upon you the book in truth, confirming what is between its hands, and he sent down the Torah and the Gospel. The second part says it directly. Allah sent down the Torah and the Gospel. But David already said clearly, Christians do not have a book from God to Jesus and from Jesus to his followers. So that settles it. He has nothing to do with that Gospel. He denied it before the verse even finished. Let's hold him to it. But with utter impudence and shamelessness, he dares to say, right after denying that Christians have a book from God, he says this.
There are a few interesting pieces of evidence here. Surah 3, verse 3, obviously affirms the inspiration of the Gospel. It says that Allah sent down the Torah and the Gospel.
That's not just dishonest. That's a man who knows what the verse says, rejects it, rewrites it, and then pretends the Quran is talking about his book. You say the book in your hand is not from God, then you turn around and claim the Quran confirms it. That's not confusion, that's fabrication, with a straight face. And now we deal with it.
Now the first part of 3, what does it say? He sent down upon you the book in truth, confirming what is between its hands. What is between its hands does not need any explanation. It is the space between the two hands, at a point in time. That's it. As we see in the picture, one book is between the hands. The others are outside that space, on the table, around the arms in the room, but not between the hands. Between the hands refers to space, the specific physical space between the two hands. Nothing more, nothing less. No metaphor, no interpretation, just space. And that's what the Quran says. Clear, defined, untouchable. The translators assume, for no reason, that the Quranic wording is not clear. I do not know why. As we see here linguistically, the expression between the hands has an equivalent in all languages. It needs no explanation. Allah's wording is right, but they replace it with what came before it. And they justify that based on Quranic exegesis, arguing that since the Quran mentions earlier revelations and says that all prophets came with the same message, then this phrase must mean whatever came before. That idea that all revelations carry the same message is correct, but using it here is not needed. The wording is already clear. Between its hands means what it says. You don't change the text to make a theological point, especially when the original text already makes it better than you can.
The verse says that the Quran confirms what was before it and then clarifies that it's referring to earlier revelations. English translations obscure another important piece of evidence here. When the Quran is said to confirm what was before it, does this just mean before it in time? Is the Quran only saying that the Torah and the Gospel were reliable when they were originally revealed, but not necessarily later? Or does it mean something much more significant? Well, the Arabic phrase translated as before it is mabaina yadehi, which literally means between his hands or between its hands. When used as an idiom, mabaina yadehi can mean in his presence or in its presence. So it doesn't sound like the Quran is verifying books that came.
The Quran's confirmation is clearly described as applying to the divine revelations given to the prophets. Nothing more. We've already shown that. But somehow to D. Wood, the phrase, what is between its hands, doesn't need context, doesn't need theology, and doesn't need standards. It just means confirm everything in physical space, any book, any scroll, any church flyer, as long as it's called Torah or Gospel. The Quran, according to him, isn't confirming truth. It's rubber stamping labels, no test, no standard. Just believe anything with a religious title and you're good. That's not reading the Quran. That's forcing nonsense into it. Because the book in his hand must be right no matter what.
Now let's hear him testify against himself. He's about to say that the Quran warns of severe punishment and somehow thinks that's for Muslims, not for the people it actually describes. But listen closely. What he says next doesn't just accuse Muslims, it clearly confirms that he fits the warning. Let's hear it.
This means that Muslims who say that the gospel was corrupted early on by someone like the Apostle Paul are telling us that Allah failed. Because if they're right, the gospel was corrupted and didn't guide mankind. And finally, we have Allah warning people that those who disbelieve in his signs, which here refers to his revelations, shall have a severe punishment.
The one who should investigate this issue a bit more carefully is you, not the Muslim. Allah was talking to you when he said in Quran 18:14, All praise is due to Allah, who sent down upon his servant the book and made in it no deviance, set straight, to warn of severe punishment from him and to give good news to the believers, and to warn those who say, Allah has taken a son. They have no knowledge of it, nor did their forefathers. Grave is the word that comes out of their mouths. They say nothing but a lie. And you forgot what you yourself said earlier, that Allah never revealed a book to Jesus. So you don't realize you are the one denying the revelation, not a Muslim. He still has more than 20 minutes left. 20 more minutes of distortion, misreading, and projection. We'll expose every bit of it in the next video. Subscribe and stay tuned.